The Chaz was such a crap show that many people completely lost sight of Portland. But Portland, being Portland, screamed, "Hold my beer," because we've been doing this way longer than they have out there in Seattle. And you know what? They're not wrong. So when I see articles like this, I gotta say, good. This is coming to us from Fox 5. Federal agents tear gas mayor of Portland, Oregon, and it's via the Associated Press. Federal, state, county, local. Those are the four governmental entities that govern any American citizen. All right? Your mayor is far more important to your quality of life and, more importantly, your tax rate than the president ever could be. I say this a lot in videos because this mayor has allowed this lunacy to go on for way too long. Okay, we're talking has it been years? It feels like it's been years, from the Andy No stuff to the protest and everything else like that. Portland has been bonkers. Portland openly declared that, yeah, we're coming for the entire United States. Like, so when you're at like day 400, like, you know what I'm saying, 400 of people just completely going bonkers in the streets, there's certain things that you can like at some point you should kind of like, yeah, come on, get to it, Mr. Mayor. It's your job to keep the law and order and make sure that your residents, your normal tax-paying residents' quality of life is as great as you can make it. That is your sole job. But nah. No. You got a lot of these blue team mayors that are just happy to watch their cities burn as long as they can provoke. Let's get into this. The mayor of Portland, Oregon, was tear gassed by the U.S. government late Wednesday as he stood at a fence guarding a federal courthouse during another night of protest against the presence of federal agents sent by President Donald Trump to quell unrest in the city. Bullshit. That's not what they're there to do. They are there to protect federal property. See, the unrest has been going on in all of these spaces for the longest. And Trump he said that, you know what, let's just let them burn. These are democratically run places. We're going to kill in November. Like, that's really his position. That's really what his position has been. But when you threaten federal properties, then you're forcing the hand. You're forcing the federal government's hands. And one of the things that, has been constant throughout a lot of the reporting has been, the federal agents being in the buildings and not coming out until, the building itself was threatened. They've been allowing people to just go about business and hey, you want to burn it down? Go ahead, because your mayor is supposed to be protecting that. That's your mayor's job. But when it comes to federal property, yeah, we're not going to stand for it. And when they sit there and put out the moms and the dads and, oh my goodness, how dare, it's like, dude, I'm sorry, but we are, like, particularly in Portland, they've been going at this once again, I think, for years. And so if you're out there being a mother or a father, you know what? You know what you're doing. You have this is a ploy. This is a manipulative trick to sit there and say, oh, how dare. It's another emotional ploy that just can't work on the logical. Mayor Ted Wheeler, a Democrat, said it was the first time he'd been tear gassed and apparently slightly dazed and coughed as he put on a pair of goggles someone handed him and drank water. He didn't leave his spot at the front, however, and continues to take gas. Around Wheeler, the protests raged, with demonstrators lighting a large fire in the space between the fence and the Mark O. Hatfield federal courthouse, and pop of federal agents deploying tear gas and stun grenades into the crowd. Yeah, that's the thing. But it's all a stunt. It's all for the theatrics. It's also that they can go back and say, oh, look how fascistic and everything else like that President Trump's being, when honestly, objectively, you cannot say that he's been authoritarian really at all. If anything, there's a lot of people who want him to take even more steps and go even further, but he's not a dumb man. This man knows how to play the media, I'll tell you that much. Earlier in the night, Wheeler was mostly jeered as he tried to rally demonstrators who have clashed nightly with federal agents, but was briefly applauded when he shouted, "Black Lives Matter," and pumped his fist in the air. This is why nobody like you. Like, this is why nobody likes you. The mayor has opposed federal agents' presence in Oregon's largest city, but he has faced harsh criticism from many sides, and his presence wasn't welcomed by many who yelled and swore at him. Because you're the mayor, you should, like, honestly, like, your police force should have never allowed these things to get this large. It's one of the reasons, for all of his faults, I will give Chris Christie the world's largest pat on the freaking back for shutting down the whole Antifa thing here in the state before it got to this point. It's the only reason, I promise you, particularly with Montclair. Montclair, I love you to death, but you guys, you guys are definitely on this whole swag, and it's a little disheartening. I'm not even going to lie. But the deal is that if it were not for Christie shutting it down over here, yes, Jersey would be on fire as well. And the fact that Newark, one of the Newark has been gentrified to all shit. Regardless, they're not letting that money go to waste. I want to thank the thousands, Newark and Camden. Like, they just got finished gentrifying Newark, and they just got finished gentrifying Camden. So it's like, yeah, we're not gonna spill that beanage, bro. I want to thank the thousands of you who have come out to oppose the Trump administration's occupation of this city. Oh my God, that's the thing. It's not an occupation of the city. It's not an occupation of the city. It is them protecting federal property. Your city, knock yourself out. Go ahead, burn it. Who gives a shit? Because we don't let it. But the federal properties that, you know, are in the purview of the federal government, yeah, then they're gonna sit there and protect that. Wheeler told hundreds of people gathered downtown near the federal courthouse. The reason this is important is it is not just happening in Portland. We're on the front line here in Portland. Yeah. Oh God. Wow. You're terrible. You are very terrible, Wheeler. Some Portland residents, including city council members, have accused Wheeler of not reining in local police, who have used tear gas multiple times before federal agents arrived early this month in response to nearly 2 months of nightly protests since George Floyd was killed. Others, including business leaders, have condemned Wheeler for not bringing the situation under control before the agents showed up. And yeah, you can count me in the latter on that one. And secondly, they are there to protect the federal property. They're not there to take over the city like that. Trust me, it doesn't even look. They're sitting in the buildings. They're not. This is not a yes. Let's march through the streets and take everything. You know, protesters in the crowd held signs aloft that read "Tear Gas Ted" in reference to the Portland Police Bureau's use of the substance before federal agents arrived. Well, I mean, tear gas or bullets. You guys are out there being just completely immature and unorganized about everything that you're doing, but you're all hopped up on your injustice, on your SJW rhetoric, and your Black Lives Matter, and your self-righteousness or perceived self-righteousness. And some of you just want to see the world burn. Cool. That's on you. The rest of us, regular people, no. No, not at all. Some protesters surrounded him and shouted angrily at him as he walked away. One person shouted, you got to be here every single night." While taking questions Wednesday night, and before he was tear-gassed, Wheeler was criticized for the actions of his own police department, not defunding the local police, a national movement that seeks to redirect funds from policing to community needs, like more welfare state. Just expand the welfare state. Expand the welfare state. That's all that shit ever chops up to. The mayor said he wants to use the energy of the protest to make changes. Bro, okay, so I'm just a simple man here. But I'm just like, hey, if we end a drug war, that's a change that can happen, that can start at least with resolutions on a local level, right? And, hey, this has been bullshit, and it's a leading cause for a lot of the violence and everything. Like, every time I see these people, these charlatans, right? They go, oh my goodness, let's have a fundraiser to end to end gun violence, and it's like, dude, you're not but anybody who goes to that fundraiser isn't the type of person that would be using the guns, right? like you gotta really start to affect scenarios more than individual people. But now, what the hell do I know, right? Wheeler then addressed the much larger crowd than from a raised balcony, saying, I am here tonight to stand with you. Earlier Wednesday, the city council banned police from cooperating with federal agents or arresting reporters or legal observers. Wheeler's tense nighttime appearance downtown came hours after attorneys for Oregon urged a judge to issue a restraining order against agents deployed to quell the protests, deployed to protect federal buildings. The arguments from the state and the U.S. government came in a lawsuit filed by Oregon Attorney General Ellen Rosenbaum, who accuses federal agents of arresting protesters without probable cause, whisking them away in unmarked cars, untrue, and using excessive force. Federal authorities have disputed those allegations. They get released like in minutes from everything that I've been able to gather. Like they pick them up, talk to them for a little bit, then send them on their way. Make sure that they're not, see if they're the person that they're looking for or not, then send them on their way. And it's going to happen when you've had once again so much when you've allowed so much I guess tension and nonsense and riots and aggression to fester. The lawsuit is part of a growing pushback to Trump sending federal agents to Portland and announcing that they would be going to Chicago and Albuquerque, New Mexico to fight rising crime, a move that deepened the country's political divide and potentially setting up constitutional crisis months ahead of the presidential election. Democratic mayors of 15 cities condemned the use of federal officers in a letter to the U.S. Attorney General, but these areas, Americans live in these areas, right? Like, that's the thing. Americans live in these areas. His purview is they have to be brought they do have to be brought under control. These situations have been allowed to fester because of the mayors in these very specific areas. The areas that are going to vote for Trump, they're so far removed that it's like, yo, he going to go in there and get these places that are notorious. Albuquerque, not as much. Yeah. Okay, Albuquerque, that are notorious for, being wild and out of control. As Hillary Clinton would say, bringing them to heel. Right, dude, they're like, trust me, there's a mindset amongst all of these folks, okay? And it's Biden has it too. They all have it. And trust me, and it's about elements in which they are unfamiliar. They just see the they just see the statistics, they see the news reports, and they go in. The court hearing focused on the actions of more than 100 federal agents responding to a protest outside of Mark O. Hatfield Federal Courthouse, which has been a target for the demonstrations. Once again, it wasn't until they started targeting federal property that Trump and the feds was like, look, something needs to be done. The motion for the temporary restraining order asked U.S. Judge Michael Mossman to command agents from the Department of Homeland Security, Customs and Border Patrol, Federal Protective Service, and U.S. Marshal Service to immediately stop detaining protesters without probable cause. But the deal is that the fact that you're out there protesting is the probable cause. Quote unquote protesting, the rioters, the fact that you're out there quote unquote rioting is the probable cause. Sorry. Identify themselves and their agency before arresting anyone and explain why an arrest is taking place. The state acknowledged that federal agents have the right to defend the courthouse, but argued that they had overstepped. Nah, sorry, because guess what? As the federal representatives of the republic as a whole, they are they are amongst the last steps. You get what I'm saying? Once again, federal, state, county, local. All right. So this is a very let's go all the way back up to the top. This is a very tenuous situation that's taking place in very specific parts of the country. But it would seem as if certain agendas and ideals have permeated certain segments of this country that are ultimately, that do not constitute advancement more along the lines of destruction, with absolutely no idea as to how to make something better, or or what to do next. That's the thing. It's all emotion, no logic, and it's a sad well to fall down. And I've seen a lot of people that I care about fall down that well, because they have Trump derangement syndrome so hard that they can't see the forest through the trees. Like, wait a second, wait, hold up. So you're so angry at this, you're gonna ignore what's been taking place for all of this time. It's very strange. It's like a short memory, it's very episodic as opposed to serialized. And I've gone into that multiple times. So guys, with that being said, we're gonna bring this one to an end. All the internet stuff, if you like to toss it, like dislike, go ahead, do that too. Nobody's scared of you. Nobody's scared of you. Yeah, I see that ratio on the Beyonce video. I don't care. Like, yeah, like I expected it. Like, it's so damn ridiculous when we have real problems right now, guys. At least that's my opinion. Sub, if you enjoy my fantastic voice and you want to get videos like this every single day, share, because sharing is caring. And YouTube and Bitchute like aren't the biggest fans of your boy over here for very obvious reasons. Bang the bell for notifications and speak. Let me know. Like, what do you think in the comments? Yeah, this has to be done. Like, in order to maintain, like, I've been moved towards the order. Yeah, I like the chaos, but the chaos can't get too out of hand. It just can't. It's no longer fun. You had a person get found burnt to death in the Chaz, I believe. Like, there's been murders, there's been assaults, there's been forced entries, there's been so much that's gone wrong with the complete lawlessness of a lot of these areas that, come on, and no reasonable human being. And that's what I always just try to lean on at the end of the day, is the reason. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you may disagree. That's what I have a comment section for. Until the next one.